Namaste and welcome to the program presented by UTV Source. This is me, your host Sarla Karki. On today's episode, we'll be covering the program organized by US Embassy at Kathmandu on a broader theme of Women's History Month. Let's have a look. US Embassy hosted a program titled Women Reaching Higher, featuring the 7 Summits Women team that became the most successful women's expedition to climb Everest and are the highest peaks of Australia, Europe, Africa, and South America. The program also highlighted the role of education and empowerment for women worldwide attaining greater heights. The team coordinator of 7 Summit Women team, Ms. Saili Basnit, gave a presentation about their achievements and future initiatives.
First Inclusive Women's Sagarmatha Expedition 2008 Spring. It was organized by an organization called Climbers Club. Till 2007, there were only 7 Nepali women who had climbed Everest. We're home to Everest, and not only Everest, 8 of the 14 tallest mountains in the world. So we'd think, oh, there are more women in climbing, but that's not true. At least till 2007, there were only 7 Nepali women. So our 2 leaders, men in red jackets, Dagombu Sherpa and Pema Doji Sherpa, thought that was embarrassing statistics for a country that's home to these big mountains. So they decided to organize this expedition, and they called for members, and were originally a team of 10 women. Me and my friends, we asked our leaders, and they told us that they'll send us for this mountaineering training in Langtang, organized by Nepal Mountaineering Association. And if we pass this training, we can become members of the climbing expedition. So that's one of the first things we did. We went for this very intensive professional mountaineering training. We had to start with learning how to hook on our crampons, how to walk in a 10 past 10 thing, to ice climbing, to rescuing a friend. We had many organizations supporting us in small ways, in big ways, and we learned a big lesson that you don't need to have big name in the market. You don't need to have you don't need to come from a privileged family, maybe a rich background, to go for a really big dream. If you keep working at it, it is possible. Even the first steps, even if it's difficult, you can still do it. So that was a big lesson, even with the fundraising itself. This is trekking to the base camp. This is a puja, worshipping ceremony at the base camp. When we go for big climbs, we really believe that the gods reside in the big mountains, and the mountains are gods themselves. So we don't step on the mountains without a proper puja. This is how the climb looks like when you climb from Nepal. The triangles, tiny red triangles, are various base camps, various camps. The lowest one is the base camp. You go to the first camp, around 6,000 meters, spend a night or 2 there, come down, spend a few days in base camp, then go to the second camp through first camp, spend a night or 2 there, come back again, do the same thing at third camp if you have the time, or just rest at the base camp long enough to recuperate, and then based on your summit window, you leave 4 or 5 days in advance to reach for the summit. This is from base camp on the way to the first camp, Khumbu Icefall. As the name suggests, icefall means frozen river. So you can't see the movement, but it's moving. There are deep crevasses, huge towers, you can hear cracks. That's why you have to be very, very careful here. That's how we cross the deep crevasses. These things are put together by what we call icefall doctors. They're stationed there to put these together. This is Pema Digi Sherpa, all geared up for the summit. And we leave for the summit. There's a famous saying on Everest, one miss, game finish. Once you leave the last camp, there's very small room for any mistakes or mishaps. That's why you have to be 100% sure about everything, about weather, about your body, about equipment, about every possible thing. This is the view from the summit. We went up. That's my picture on the summit. That's Asha, the girl from the flatlands, with Janaki Mandir ko photo liera chai usle summit ma pugeko थियो. That's Maya Gurung, Pujan Acharya, And Maya Gurung and Pujan Acharya, you can find their names in the general knowledge book now. Who's the first woman from Brahmin community to climb Everest? Pujan Acharya. Who's the first from Gurung community? Maya Gurung. Nimdoma, at the age of 17, at the time became the youngest woman to climb Everest. And together with her in the picture now, Puti Sherpa and Sushmita Maske and Musa Bisar are also here. That's Pema Diki Sherpa, Chunu Shrestha. So if you did your counting in mathematics right, all 10 of us made it to the summit and we became the most successful women's team ever to climb Mount Everest.
We have also taken an interview with Ms. Saili Basnet and Ms. Marisha, who were presented at the program.
Ma'am, you are from Business Information System and journalism background. So what motivated you for category extension of skills?
I was always interested in sports. That is something I missed out on when I was growing up. My school did not have much sports, especially for girls, and I was not very, outgoing to find something out for myself. So I always wanted to experience physical challenge. So when I came to know about the mountaineering expedition, I was like, this is my chance.
Okay. So what would be the future initiatives by your team for women empowerment or youth empowerment?
We've been focusing on education, empowerment, and environment. 3 E's. Seven Summits Women Team is a platform for us to take this forward, and we'll continue to do that after the climbing mission is over. We've also started a trekking and expedition company called Everest Women Treks and Expedition, which is led by Maya Gurung, our team member. So we'll continue to work through this company and also other platforms to encourage more, especially women, to be economically empowered. At the same time, we'll continue to work in highlighting the significance of education throughout the country and possibly even beyond. So there are a lot of things that we'll be busy with.
So we can say that you are close to your mission. So throughout your 5 expedition, what is the best moment you want to recall, best moment throughout your expedition?
It's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell. 5, so it's literally like your hand and which one is your favorite.
Okay.
There are lots of very special moments. We have laughed together. We sing and dance a lot. We're a very fun-loving team. We've cried together. We've had to do some tough decision making together. One of the key moments I think that I can think of right now is when we were climbing Kilimanjaro, which made us wait for 2.5 years. So finally, before actually reaching the summit at a Stella Point, all of us, all our team members, we started crying, and the African guides there were telling us this is not the summit. So we're just emotional that after such a long gap we're still able to continue. So I think that's a very special moment registered in my head right now.
We'd like to know the objective of U.S. Embassy for supporting 7 Summit team of women.
We find the story of the 7 Summit team exceptionally inspirational, and particularly in honor of Women's History Month, which is a big celebration in the United States of the contributions of women over history. We thought this would be the perfect time to hear the story of the team. We think that these kinds of programs help to promote the empowerment of women, and our embassy is always ready to support women's initiatives.
Okay. So what sort of other programs are initiated or planned by U.S. Embassy in the future for the youth
Sure.
empowerment of women empowerment?
Absolutely. Well, we are always very active on the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. This is something that we take very seriously. Programs which counter violence, which counter trafficking in persons, are a serious part of what we do in public affairs. So this past 16 days of activism, we had a variety of programs about anti-violence, and upcoming in the upcoming 16 days we have more to come. But throughout the year we have various programs which promote human rights and which promote women's empowerment.
don't limit yourself. What you believe, remember you can achieve. Hope you like an inspirational session and presentation by Ms. Saili Basnet. Our salutation to Ms. Basnet and her team for the wonderful achievement and best wishes for the future endeavors.
Most of us had nothing to do with mountaineering until 2007. For instance, I'll share with you our friend Asha's story. Asha is the excited one here, stretching her hand out. She comes from the flatlands of Tarai, from the district of Mohottari. When she decided to climb Everest, her parents were like, we have no idea what you're talking about, but just be safe. When she started, when we went for the training together, I heard people like write to me, they were like, girl from Tarai, I mean, no way. And when she started climbing up the rock face, then people were like, ooh, she can climb. Last time when we were in South America, we were doing our oxygen saturation test, and we have Sherpas in our team, we have people from high mountains in our team, and we're all like 89, 90, 91, and Asha is like 99. And the doctor is like, your body is functioning like you're at sea level. So that's Asha. She's, like I said, from the Tarai, and in her family there are 6 girls. Her grandmother, when Asha was young, thought that Asha was the ugliest girl in the 6 granddaughters she had, and she said, oh, no one's going to want to marry her, so this one will have to be self-reliant. That's the reason she sent her to a good school in Janakpur from Mohottari, and after she passed away, Asha was brought back to the village. She did not understand the whole thing about marrying and looking good, but she understood that, okay, I have to keep going to school. And in our team, she's the one most disciplined about education. She's about to finish college this year. That's exciting. And if you go to our village today, all girls Asha's age are married and have children. And she's the only girl from her community who's still not married and climbing the mountains of the world. And the North Face is our equipment sponsor. I always like to share this story, and as you can see in the picture, North Face gives us similar t-shirts, trousers, boots, and everything. But once Asha puts them on, she just looks the hottest. So we have unanimously voted in our team that Asha is the sexiest. We tell her that her grandmother should have been alive to see what a gorgeous woman this is and how disciplined and dedicated she is to education, inspiring many women, especially in her community and beyond, to keep going to school to reach for your dreams. That's Asha for you. And I'll introduce, Asha is not here with us today, she is trekking in the mountains. But 6 of us are here, and that's Maya Guru, Chulu Shrestha, Nimloma Sherpa, Pujan Acharya, and Pema Diki Sherpa. When Diki was young, she had learning difficulties. So she was not very active as other kids. She would just not play, and it was difficult for her to express if she understood what the teachers or parents were trying to tell her. So all the people that knew her family, like their neighbors and relatives, would come to their home and be like, what are you going to do with this one? She was the second daughter in 3 girls, and as our society is a son preference society, they thought that this family was already sort of weak, a family without a boy, and then especially someone with learning difficulty. Diki shares with us that it was constant motivation from her teachers and her parents that made her feel like she could do whatever she wanted to do. So she kept progressing, and now everyone knows her family because of Diki. So we call her the learner in our team. Now Pujan, she is from Dolakha, and in her school there were no bench, no desk. Sometimes we complain, my laptop's not working. How about this? No bench, no desk, they'll just sit on the floor or on the ground, and she wanted to play sports. And now coming from a Brahmin community, she was supposed to be in the kitchen, in the worshipping room, in the home, but she wanted to play sports, and there were no girls to play sports with. So she would play with boys, not caring what people had to say. So we call her the brain in our team because she knows what she wants, and she'll find a way to do it. Nimdoma there. She was 17 when she climbed Everest. When people ask her age, she now says, I'm 23, but I'm going to be 24 soon. Nimdoma comes from Dolakha, a remote village in Dolakha, and the reason she got to go to school is because United Nations World Food Program had this afternoon school meal program. So they served halwa, and she shares with us that was the only sweet thing she had access to as a child. No ice cream, no candies, no chocolate, just this halwa. And it was so sweet and so good, she wanted to go to school every day. And she would, in fact, save a little bit in her palm and bring it back to her mother. Among all the girls in the family, her brother saw that, okay, this one is really excited about education. When she kept going to school, Nimdoma understood that, well, if I keep coming to school, I don't have to be a village girl all my life. And she got serious about going to school. Her brother saw that, brought her to Kathmandu. She went to a good school here, finished her SLC, became the first educated member of her family. How cool is that? And then, as she was thinking what to do after SLC, this opportunity to climb Everest came up, and she joined. She is now the national champion in sports climbing, and a fantastic climber, I don't have to say that, and really an inspiration for all of us in the team as well. Chunu Shrestha here, she used to work as a salesperson before she decided to climb. We have this notion sometimes that if you're born and raised in Kathmandu, the capital city, you're born with all the privileges, and the real Nepal is outside of Kathmandu, you've not seen challenges. That's not true. Chunu, born in Basantapur, Joche, she started working when she was a 6th grader so that she could support her education and also bring in some income in the family. So in her younger years, she missed out being outdoors, just being a kid, playing, setting a goal, setting small goals. She spent a lot of time working than doing homework. So when this opportunity came to climb Everest, she thought maybe I could make out on my missed childhood with travel and going outdoors if I joined this. That's how she came to become a part of this team. And we call her Chunu Mummy because, for instance, you miss your lunch, or you have an argument with your boyfriend, or you're not putting on your makeup properly. Chunu will just be like, here's this something, eat. Why don't you eat? It's like, what's going on with you? You have dark circles. She'll fix your makeup for you. She just has that instinct, and she loves taking care of us, not only in the city, in the high camps, in high mountains, in the tents. She'll be like, you haven't drank enough. Drink. That's why we call her Chunu Mummy. And our last member here, Maya Guru, we call her Maya the Rebel. My first introduction to Maya when I decided to be a part of this team was this. One person told me, when you meet Maya, you feel like there's no stress in the world. Like there's no tension, there's nothing to worry about. And till date, that definition has not changed. That is exactly what describes Maya. She ran away from her home when she was 14 on the eve of her wedding. When she was a 7th grader, her father wanted her to get married. The next day was the marriage. Previous day on the evening, she just boarded a bus, didn't know where this bus was going. The bus ended in the far east, in the district of Thapa. For 2 days, the cops kept asking her, where are you from, all that. She won't give them a clue. She only demanded that they make her a police officer. And I like to say her Bollywood dream was to come back, this 14-year-old girl, to Kathmandu, dressed in a police uniform, and arrest all the men with multiple wives, starting with their father, and arrest everyone who forced child marriage. When she came back, her father had burnt all her belongings, all her pictures, clothes, everything, and performed her final rituals, and said she has died to her, to the family. After that, she became a disgrace to the community. People won't talk to her. Her best friends were not allowed to talk to her. In the community, people would be scared if their daughter would become like Maya. When she decided to climb Everest, we remember we said, you know, Gurungs are rich. Let's go find some Gurung. They may be able to write us a check. And no one wanted to support her. When we came back from Everest, the biggest community of people cheering for the team was Gurung community. After that incident, Maya has taken life in her hands literally, and she has tried various things, failed at many, succeeded at some, and she just believes that if you know what you want, and if you keep trying, if you know your self-worth, then there is nothing challenging in the world, there is no problem in the world. So she's been through so much that nothing really moves her. She's a rock. Okay, that's why she's the rebel, and after she climbed Everest, now in the same community, people, parents in our office in Lazimpat, they bring their daughters and tell Maya, can you make my daughter like you? So that's the change, and I'm very proud to say that I've been able to work with my heroes. These friends of mine, they are my heroes even before they climbed Everest. They come from diverse parts of the country, have faced different challenges that a lot of us don't even think about. And even if they had not climbed Everest, they would be heroes for me. But then, that's not the end of it. That's where it started.
Our special thanks to US Embassy. Thank you for watching our program. If you have any feedback, you can email us at info@ytvnepal.org. Keep watching programs presented by UTV Source. Namaste.